Before we get into this episode, make sure you're subscribed to our channel. You can hit the notification button so you can get updated weekly on all of our latest content. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, tell us what you want to see next below. Okay, you're going to kick us off with a little good energy. Do that. What do we do? We take this oil?
Yeah, we're going to take the vagus nerve oil, and we're going to do a vagus nerve activation.
Okay.
And the vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve, and it helps reset and calm the parasympathetic nervous system in case any of us are stressed. So, which I think, in case, just on that random.
Open your mouth, Michael.
Yeah. And then as we do it, I'm going to kind of just do a very short little breathing exercise.
Okay.
And the fragrance was designed to lift consciousness, which is what I do with all of our scents.
Okay.
And it's all pure essential oils.
Okay, so
So
I put
rub
a little...
it between your fingers. Take a deep breath. I think your microphone now smells like vagus nerve also. And a cleansing exhalation. And then just the vagal nerve pathway is the longest nerve in the body. It goes all the way from the brain to the gut. So rub it behind your ears, down the sides of your neck. I like to put it under my nose, kind of on my pulse points. And what's extraordinary about the vagus nerve is that 70% of the neural impulses actually originate in the gut. So whenever you feel like you have a gut feeling, that's your vagus nerve talking to you.
Interesting.
Oh, my vagus nerve is always talking to me. It doesn't shut the fuck up.
I'm with you.
My husband and I both do this thing to my son called shakies every night, where we shake his chest to like.
Okay, describe it a little better. We're just like shake
No.
it.
There is something about shaking baby, you know.
No. It's not like that. Explain what it is.
We just grab him and just shake him around. No. We rub his chest like just to like calm him down, and then you give him a little just like
a vibration.
Little
Beautiful.
vibration.
And it's supposed to relax their nervous system, and he asks for it every night.
Oh,
So I'm gonna put this on my hands tonight and give him shakies.
Perfect.
That's the perfect way to use it.
And
Yeah.
Michael, don't get any ideas because Michael's going to probably ask me. I have something called vascovagal.
Mm-hmm.
This probably would help me when I'm getting any kind of shot or needle or IV, huh?
Definitely. It's super calming.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
This
I'm
is
ready
really
to-
the
I'm ready to
secret
go.
to my success. Bring my mom to anything I do and do a vagus nerve exercise first.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, don't talk to me until you do your vagus nerve
Let's
exercise.
start there.
Jennifer,
I
you do have a very calming voice, I must say.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
It's such a thrill to be here.
We're excited to have you. Melissa, what was it like growing up with someone who is so passionate with wellness? Like, what do you remember when you were little?
Okay, when you were talking about the shakies, I was starting to think about some of my bedtime rituals. We did mantras,
Okay.
visualization.
Wow.
We fell asleep. I remember my favorite thing my mom would do is like talk to every part of my body. We'd say goodnight to my toes, to my ankles, and move through the whole body. We meditated and affirmations. I mean, it was, in hindsight, the best childhood possible. At certain times, I was so embarrassed because we were like the hippie natural family, but it was an incredible childhood.
I need to take some notes because right now we go under a blanket and tell ghost stories. I'm scaring the shit out of my kids and shaking them before they go to bed.
That's really quite a combo.
We
They
also
love it.
We slept outside a lot.
That's good for your nervous system,
we
right?
slept outside, but that was like a little adventure. Not scary, but so fun. We had like mattresses on our deck and slept outside most nights.
With down comforters. And let me give you a pro birthday party tip, especially for little boys. The best birthday party you can throw is just have them all sleep outside. We used to bring out the TV and they'd watch videos and they were out there by themselves. They could eat popcorn and cookies and throw it all over. everyone was happy.
And
That's
she
a
says
great
watch
birthday
videos
party.
because there was no cable and the TV was
No, we
like
didn't have TV.
once every couple months.
No, haven't you heard they're bringing back low sensory TV? So the TV show that I put on for my kids now is Arthur. It's like from like the night. It's so good for kids to watch like Clifford. Have you heard this?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, no Coco Melon. Sorry, here's Arthur.
Come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we even though we look like we're 20 years old, maybe not that young. I remember the VHS, the DVDs, all the stuff.
You remember you
Compact
had
disc
full
players.
collection.
Yeah,
of
I
everything.
also remember.
When did you guys start to see a space in the clean beauty world? Because I feel like your brand is one of the first to market and had tapped into something intuitively way before these other brands.
Well, the word clean beauty did not exist
Right.
when we launched. It was called green beauty. And in fact, I had the best tagline ever, OSEA, green when it was just a color, because it tied in that we were seaweed based. And it was really tough in the beginning because I had to explain to people why the products weren't pink and they weren't in plastic. I mean, and why they didn't smell like synthetic perfume. It was just a whole different landscape then. And people would say, why are you doing this? And I said, because I know I'm right. I mean, I saw the vision. I knew where we were going. I've always been lucky. I see things much farther down the road than most people.
I mean, it was really, Michael, the brand has been around for how many years?
29 years.
Okay,
Wow.
and the fact that you have been doing it in glass when all this microplastic shit's coming out about how we have microplastics in our brain, and you were doing it in glass, and not only that, you're right, it doesn't smell super fragranty, which is why I've always been so attracted to the brand. It smells natural and
Yeah.
just really like clean and pure. And it's crazy that you guys did that 29 years ago.
How did you
Well-
grow up, and when did you get switched on to this way of living?
Well, that's a great question. I was really born into it. My grandmother was one of the very first women chiropractors. She graduated over 100 years ago from 1919 from chiropractic school.
Wow.
And I was always raised with this awareness of wellness. And I mean, down to special order, non-hydrogenated peanut butter. We were very particular about how we ate. I used to think that every grandmother walked in the front door and adjusted your neck until I met Michael Carney's grandmother and said, why didn't you get an adjustment from her? You know, so I grew up in it. And my grandmother was really a leader in that space, in that she did iridology, she did juice fasting, and it's how I was always raised.
It's so cool. It's really, to me, I'm so into non-toxic and clean living, and just I don't want it to be overwhelming because I feel like some people go so far and it gets fanatical, but I also want to continue to improve on it all the time and just make little changes and tweaks.
That's a great philosophy because I just turned 70 this year, and
Wow.
so it's really exciting.
You look great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's all about those small daily decisions that you make because I've been doing those for over 50 years. So just those tiny little choices you make every day, there's a very powerful cumulative effect.
Yeah, like when I first met Michael, he was
Disaster.
brushing his teeth with Old Spice.
No,
That's
And
interesting.
putting Windex in his hair and using Lysol wipes on his hands.
It's interesting when I think about the beginning of this show, which was almost a decade ago now, compared to like how I live now. It's very different.
How so?
Well, I mean, just I think again, our generation came up in a time when a lot of these kind of new age synthetic artificial products came out, and it was all built on scale and mass production and the cheapest ingredients possible. And I think most parents, maybe unlike you, that's just what was in the stores. Like I think the exercise that I go through now with our parents is getting them to get back to the way of living that may be the way that you've lived, right? And they're so used to buying these grocery store and drugstore products that are harmful for us in many cases, or where in many cases there's better and healthier alternatives, and getting them off that. But I was a product like many other people of that market in that time.
It's like,
So,
do you want some Windex with your Lucky Charms?
for me, after having so many of these conversations drilled in my head, it's like, okay, you're going to continue to use these products, but if there's a better, healthier alternative that exists, why would you not take that path?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what was the first epiphany and product that you started with? And was there an epiphany before the product? Like, how did the brand come to fruition?
I'm allergic to synthetic fragrance. So
Oh.
it had always been really difficult for me to find or use any product. So I really was not a product consumer because everything gave me a headache instantly. And now I understand it was the phthalate, fragrance carriers, etc. And so I was, in the early 80s, I was part of a wellness meditation community. And I was responsible for renovating this large spa complex. And I wanted to do treatments and facials, but there really wasn't anything out there. And that's when I saw the gap in the market. And, I was in my late 20s and I started to see a few little fine lines. So I was becoming very interested in skincare as well. And I realized I reached into my childhood experience of that my grandmother swam every day of the year in the ocean. And she lived, no, let me just say, she was not living in California. She was living in New York. She swam in the Long Island Sound.
Wow.
She was we think one of the very first polar bear clubs in the country. And she swam close to 300 days a year. Her definition of a bad day was that the ice was too thick to get in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because occasionally it would freeze and she just couldn't chop through. And that was just part of our family mythology that the ocean is healing. And God forbid if I went to visit my grandparents in November, I'd have to go down to the beach and get in the water. And it was cold. And there's even a picture on our website and it looks like they're standing in sand, but that happens to be snow because it's black and white. So when I was at the spa, I thought to myself, definitely has to be ocean-based. But then I had spent time as a child living in Switzerland, and we were taken on these incredible field trips everywhere, including the perfume fields of Gras. So I learned about essential oils before they even arrived in the States. And so I thought, what if I created this synergy between pure essential oils and seaweed, and I would have the best of land and sea. And so the first product I ever made was in 1982 called Essential Hydrating Oil, and I've used it every day since.
When you first launched the product, were people excited about it, or did you have to, like you mentioned you had to explain, but did you have to really nail it in their head for them to try it, or did they like it right away?
I wouldn't say excited, but at all.
Doing the sales, when we launched in 96, we first launched in retail stores in LA.
And Fred Siegel.
Okay.
Which
our
was
launch.
the place to be.
Yeah.
And we got totally lucky, launched there. And I was doing our sales in the late 90s. And I got things like, why is this in glass? Why doesn't it smell good? And it was very niche at the time. Clean beauty wasn't even a term.
That's wild.
And people used to say, then we started hearing, this is a great product, but your packaging is terrible. I know.
we
And I
spent
would-
years on that.
Years and years. So I actually it became part of my selling tactic. I would hold up a bottle and I'd say, look, we spent all the money on the ingredients, not the packaging, even though I always knew our packaging was beautiful, timeless, and in glass. And then about maybe 10 years ago, people started saying, oh, you don't have to apologize. It's not that bad. Now people buy it because they love the packaging.
Was the packaging this?
Yes.
It's always been the same.
The
People
thing-
didn't like this nice, beautiful,
No.
thick glass
No.
matte bottle?
Mm-mm.
More than the packaging, the logo, the brand message, the tagline, everything is truly the same since 1996. I love looking back at our 96 first brochure, and I would gladly hand it out today.
If there's entrepreneurs who are listening and I just want to know for my own product line, what has been the evolution of the brand over 29 years from how you guys have exploded from social media. Like, talk about the whole evolution. Over 29 years is a long time.
A long
Yeah.
time. I mean, I think so much of it is a reflection of my mom and I's perfect balance as a team, because my mom is an incredible visionary and was unwavering in her commitment, even when I was like a teenager, let's be honest, and being like, Mom, let's put this in plastic. Like, let's make this more sellable. She was unwavering in her commitment to the integrity and the vision of the brand. Now I realize I'm so lucky that she was so clear. And so much of that aspect of the product, the quality of the product, the quality of the ingredients has been just core to what I've gotten to do, which is to grow the business and explode the brand, all fundamentally based on this product that is driven by results and clean ingredients that actually work.
And we would never be where we are without Melissa Palmer. I am so proud of her. And I mean, it's a dream to I mean, look, we're a mother-daughter team, so of course we have those typical mother-daughter things, but it's a dream to have the privilege of working with my daughter and seeing her evolution. And so often when parents see their children become adults, they don't get to see their children in the world. And I get to see my daughter in the world every day, and I get to share parts of that world with her. And it's just incredible.
And most days she loves it.
I hope that I get to work with my daughter like this. I hope she comes to me and she's like, Mom, I want to do with what you do. That would be so fun.
I told you before we started, like, I ran a business with my father for a long time, and it was great while we were in it, but there's obviously moments of growing pains. It's probably strange for a parent to see their child start to go into adulthood and then start to maybe try to have equal, if not greater, say in some cases in the business. And you're like, wait a minute, I'm the parent. I know better. But at the same time, you got to listen to the good ideas. That was at least me and my dad's relationship. And then later in our case, having me leave the company because I wanted to go off that. Like, it was, when I look back now, I'm so grateful for that time. Because to your point, if I would have just left and gone off and done a bunch of other stuff, I would have lost all that time, and now our relationship's closer than ever. So it's like, it's a special thing. I hope my kids at some point want to do something with us.
I hope so too, because the two of you are such a dynamic duo. And how you're going to at least get one kid. You're going to have 3 kids. I guarantee, I'm putting a lot of money on it, if you want to bet, that you will at least have 1 child and probably 2.
Who do you think they're going to want to work with? Me
Here's
or
the way
Michael?
you do it. You pit them, you make it a competition. You pit them against each other, and it's like a Succession type
Michael's
thing.
taking
Fight
notes
Club
on
there.
Succession. His ringtone's Succession. The kids wake up to that alarm clock. I'm like, cut it out.
I'll be like, ooh, Towns is looking a little bit more favorable today.
Let's just say in the past couple of years, I've definitely been winning with all the growth in the business.
Oh.
But I would say my journey with OSEA really has been in 2 chapters. My first chapter, I'd call my adolescence.
Yes, I would second that.
It was really just my mom and I, my stepdad. We were in our garage, and this was really the first 15 years of OSEA. We spent the first 15 years as a really small business. We sold in a little bit of retail, almost exclusively in these beautiful spas. So the plus was we got to fly around to like the Four Seasons Bora Bora and teach them how to do a facial.
Four Seasons, Maldives.
Loved that.
Nice.
But we were a small business. We grew healthfully every year. And I was early 20s, like had never had another job except all of my teenage jobs that I had because we were a family that always worked.
She delivered newspapers.
I
when
did.
She was...
Had a bunch of hustles going. But I had a lot of frustration, similar to what you were saying, of like, Mom, let's do that. But I didn't know what I was talking about. Then I left for a couple of years.
Good, though. That's good.
It was. Hired one employee who's still with us to work in our garage.
Yeah.
And I helped start and build a hula hoop dance and fitness company.
Cool.
And it was, I like to describe it as going to business school. I grew into do a couple million in sales, a place we still hadn't gotten to, and learned at the perfect moment about D2C, influencer, how to sell things online. And then I came back to the business 10 years ago, and I had something very different to prove. And at that point, that was really when our growth started to take off. And that's a whole separate chapter of our growth. But also on the personal side, I came back with a totally different understanding. And I think our relationship really shifted at that point.
Sometimes you have to step outside of it and go work somewhere else and see different energies and different dynamics and power dynamics, and then come back fresh with a whole new landscape.
I attribute that shift entirely
Mature.
to where we are now.
Yeah, you mature.
And it was amazing because she came back and she was so stealth and so brilliant. First, she said, I'd like to redo the website. And I said, please, because come on, I didn't know anything about websites. Well, not only did she redo the website, she taught herself coding. So she really dove in deep. And then all of a sudden we started selling on the website. And she was so early on with Instagram, and we would work with micro influencers, or rather she would work with micro influencers and I would cheer her on from the sidelines. And then her next one was, maybe I should work a little bit in wholesale. Went into wholesale, blew it up. Maybe I should help a little bit with production. Got into that. Every aspect of the business. And then at one point she said, I'd like to be the CEO. And my comment was, I thought you already were. So it was a really natural, organic, beautiful way.
When did the business explode numbers wise? When you came back in?
Yes, definitely. So my first year back, and I really love to share the story of our long and slow growth with entrepreneurs, because I think there's this story that's really promoted of like fast overnight growth, and it takes a long time to build something.
Yep.
And 29 years in I think our 19th year, we hit $1 million in sales. And
wow,
that was our first year back.
You didn't have social media though, like
Right.
you have
We
it
did
now.
not.
We did
If
not.
you did have social media,
It would have been faster.
gonna be different.
100%.
Very
Yeah.
different.
but still, that is some perseverance. You put in the work to get there.
And we were always profitable. Like people would say, is this a lifestyle brand? And I said, yes, it's my lifestyle brand.
And people were always shocked we were profitable, but that's how we lived. Like
We paid the
Well,
bills.
funny enough, before this whole venture raise exorbitant amounts of capital world, like that's how you had to run a business.
Absolutely.
And that's the world that I came from too. I remember when I started doing this and we, started, I was like, well, you need to run a profitable, because we see all sorts of companies that come through these doors. And it's always like, well, I need to raise capital so that one day I can get to this. I'm like, well, at what point do you start making money?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think that's really critical for anyone thinking about a business. Like the first thing you should think about is like, how do you actually generate a profit so that you're not beholden to just raising exorbitant amounts of capital over and over and over again?
And build a
Totally.
healthy business.
Mhm.
Yeah. When someone started talking about burn rate, I was like,
What does
What?
that mean?
I couldn't even understand the concept.
So what do you attribute the infusion of social media to the big bump?
So I would say it was a combination of so many things.
Okay.
And in these 10 years, obviously, I've really pushed our growth. And I think it really started with building a website. We were 99% a wholesale business prior. My mom and I took phone orders. So building a website was the first moment. And then using social, like in the early days of Instagram, it gave us a level of access and visibility that we'd never had before. And I think so much of that initial growth was all about just getting to things a little bit faster, like affiliate marketing, influencer marketing that was like, oh, let's collab. That's what we said in the days, and using PR. And from there, I started to really build up our online presence. And then we went into retail. So I also came back with a new appreciation for a lot of my mom's mentality of like, let's grow slow and do what we're good at. So we started to create a lot of initial buzz the first few years. And then retailers started coming to us. And I actually said no for many years. And in 2020, we ended up, 2020 was the year of all insanity.
Right.
In the end of 2020, we ended up going into Ulta. And that was a big shift in our distribution and visibility, because all of a sudden we were available in thousands of stores across the country. But fundamentally, that growth was based on D2C.
That's really interesting to talk to you guys because so many brands like they launch with a retail partner right away. And I have the same mentality as you is I wanted to be sort of the tortoise in the tortoise and the hare.
That is my motto. I've been saying that for years because I always say, look, we know who won the race between the tortoise and the hare.
Yes, we do.
And I was telling people 25 years ago, I am the tortoise because I knew when I was sitting in our garage, it was a very nice garage. It was in Malibu, but it was still a garage, right? I knew that I was building a global brand. I always knew. I created the logo, the design, the concept, because I knew OSEA had the legs to be a global brand. And that's my big expression. My other favorite expression is, it's a Buddhist Zen thing, is slowly, slowly catch a monkey.
I am like so aligned with everything you said. And when I launched the blog 14 years ago, I had the same mentality. I was starting a blog to build a brand. And that's how I've approached product. And I have to be honest with you, when I talk to people who come on with the product, it's very opposite of what you guys are saying. And it's been hard for me to relate because I want to be the three little pigs and build a house of brick. And people just want it up. They want it fast. They want it quick. And my thing with retail is like, I wanted to put the brand out there, D2C, get the customer feedback, adjust slowly, make sure everything's right, make sure that they love it. And then I'll see what the right retailer is. We've had a product line for 4 years and I still don't have like a retail partner. And I when I hear this story, like you're reflecting back to me on how I want to run my own brand.
Even when you talk about, like, in the seat that I sit in this company now, as you can imagine, you have so many people saying like, well, based on what you guys have learned doing this, like, how do you do that fast? Like, what's the fast track? And I was like, that's the wrong question to start when you're creating anything, right? Like, and you guys know this if you're thinking about, like, just like pick on influencer marketing. How many people did you guys work with 10 years ago that you still work with now that are even still around? You know what I mean? Like, there's very few that actually have the staying power to last. And I think it's because of this, like, need it now, get it fast, get rich quick mentality that I think prohibits a lot of people from finding true success over their life.
I know one person who we talked to 10 years ago who featured our body oil on their blog, who's still around, which is you, Lauren.
Me. I've been a fan for a long time.
And
You knew.
I think that approach of slow build is so wise.
I mean, listen, it works the other way too. I don't want to shit on the other way. I just know I'm committed to the vision and I know what I'm building, and it might take me a little bit longer, but I want to do it really right or I won't enjoy the process.
Exactly. And for me, it's all about following the vision.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I truly believe that OSEA chose me and I'm here to follow the vision. And it's also, I think, more pleasurable. It's more of a yin approach.
Yeah.
And I'm here to drive the revenue.
And
Great.
she's amazing.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
But
Listen, there's a combination, but I think like starting with the mentality that you're building a quality long-term business or
Yes.
thing or venture it's the foundation in order to make all the right decisions that then you can make later. Where if like your whole thing is like, how do I go viral? How do I do it fast? You're going to make poor decisions.
And it's all fundamentally informed by the most important thing we do, which is the quality of product. And to your point of taking all those years to really intimately know our consumer, we made our product our number one. And the product is really what drives all of our growth because our customers come back. They put our body oil on and they feel it. It's different. There's something different. And the product is where I think you take the time.
And I'll tell you what's different about the body oil. And first of all, there's been so many copycat body oils launched in the market in the last 3 to 4 or 5 years. If you'll notice, they're all kind of a golden color, etc. Well, we make the Endaria algae body oil by using Endaria algae, which is an aggressive, invasive species of seaweed. We figured out how to cut it at the right angle. We soak it in big barrels of botanical oils for 4 to 6 months. We filter it out. We add essential oils. And what happens during that soaking process is that the polysaccharide walls of the algae or seaweed break down and infuse the oil with minerals, which gives it a texture unlike any other body oil. And I think that we really launched the body oil market. I mean, obviously there were body oils before, but it's one of our signature products.
It's
So wait, hold on.
annoying though when people come on the podcast, the founders, and start talking about my products that I like at my house because all of a sudden they go missing. He
Yeah,
does
well,
this.
now-
So I've had this body oil, this algae body oil for 10 years. I've used it through all my pregnancies. I don't mean to brag. I have a lot of things in pregnancy. I do not have stretch marks. Ask Michael.
Absolutely.
Isn't this kind of messed up? You've been having this for 10 years and I'm not.
You don't listen to me. You
Okay.
listen to other.
me-
I'll be like this. I'll
Okay.
be like,
Listen,
this body oil is
let me
amazing.
let me do everyone a favor here. For the uneducated in the room, which is me, if I were to start using this body oil, what will it do for me?
Well, first of all, it's going to make your body art look beautiful and
My
help
tattoos.
maintain
Yeah, you
the
want
color.
some crusty
Yeah.
tattoo that's falling off? Put
Yeah.
some body oil on, man.
And what else will I?
Your muscles look bigger
You
because
know
they're
what,
glistening.
Michael?
Yeah.
It might even improve your sex life. Who knows?
Sold.
Careful, he's gonna rub it everywhere.
Well, we hear that.
Okay, well, I mean,
Is it safe to run? okay, but really, like, so when people are using this, what are they trying to accomplish?
It helps with hydration and moisturization of the skin.
so you don't have
It also-
crusty skin.
It gives you a glow,
Okay.
which, like, look, I'm 70, I have wrinkles, but when you use botanical oils on your skin, at least you glow along with your wrinkles. And it's also just going to create a great protection barrier on your skin, as well as Endaria has so many different applications. It's been said, I mean, we're very limited as to what kind of claims we can
Sure.
make. But if you look at the data on Endaria, it will help stimulate collagen. It's firming, it's tightening, and
Improves the skin elasticity.
By the way,
Yeah.
these products have been around him. I have your lotion, I have your oil, I have the face oil, and you have not gotten your fingers into it.
Not yet.
the use up rate is about to increase by about 3x.
This is the way that I use it personally. What I like to do is I like to dry brush for 3 minutes.
yes.
I do this all the time.
100%.
I have to dry brush and stimulate the skin. Like I learned exactly how to dry brush to open the lymphatic system. And then I take a freezing cold shower for 3 minutes. And then I get out and I use your body oil on my body and I'll use my body sculptor because I have the Skinny Confidential dry brush and body sculptor. I use it with the oil.
Perfect.
And that has helped me, the oil and the body sculptor, break up cellulite on the back of my legs.
Mhm.
I know you guys can't say anything. I'm just
but
saying.
you can.
I can say this because this is my own experience. I use the oil to really get in there and break up because I have cellulite on my legs after 3 kids. And that really helps. So that's my favorite way to use it. And then I also like your oil at night when I look like a wet rat when I go to bed.
That's what it is. huh?
That's
That's
what
what it is.
It's the green oil. I don't know what
Yes,
it's called.
It's green. It's the Endaria algae body oil.
But no, there's a face one that I use too that comes with like a.
The hyaluronic sea serum.
Okay, that's the one I
Yeah,
like.
That's our
the one I like.
facial
Yeah.
serum.
Okay, those are the 2 products that I've been ride or die for. Literally for 10 years, I've used those products.
Just wait till you see me get out of the shower tonight. I don't even
He's like glistening. It's like Gaston from Beauty and the Beast with his face. I can't.
And for crepey skin, for stretch marks, it's so fun. I was at a dance party last week, and this woman came up to me, and she pulled up her shirt, which that's interesting. And she said, "Look, I don't have stretch marks because of you." So she just had a baby.
And
So-
how did you discover this substance? Like, how did you know about
Well,
this?
I knew about seaweed because when the origin story of seaweed was my grandmother was a chiropractor, and she was very much a type A personality and healer. And she had injured herself and was bedridden, and nothing was helping her. And she had a dream one night that the ocean and seaweed would heal her.
Mm.
And she was a tiny little woman, and she demanded that my grandfather carry her down the beach, down the street to the beach. It was Bayside, New York, and it was January in No one argued with her, by the way. You put her in the water. She collected seaweed. She felt better within a few days of doing it. And actually, it was extraordinary. Her hair, which had been going white, started to reverse course. And that's...
he's done.
Yeah,
it's over.
I know. No, we've never heard stories like that. I think it was the cold ocean water with the seaweed on top of it. But that's why they continue to swim every day of the year. So
Cold plunging before
Was
it was
it
a
the
thing.
minerals in the sea mixed with the minerals
I
in
think
the
so.
seaweed?
Absolutely. The cold mineral water along with the additional seaweed, because at that time there was seaweed on the beach. There
And the
wasn't-
trace elements of the water.
Can I
Yeah.
say something really random? Okay, so you know how the seaweed has those popper things that you pop?
Yes.
What are those? Is that seaweed?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
that is seaweed.
That is how I aspire my skin to look.
Yes.
Which is so weird that the ingredient makes your skin look like those poppers. Do you know what I'm talking
I
about?
do, and that jelly substance.
It's like
that is
wet.
the same sort of texture that you'll see in our serum. That's the serum that gel is what we use as a base, even in the treatments of our facial, and it's the foundation of what we use for our products.
It makes to me so much sense. It's so full circle that, and also if you look at Japanese people,
Of course.
their
Yeah.
skin is so beautiful. And what do they eat a lot of? Seaweed. There's a jelly on it that's how I want my skin to look at all times. I think instead of like everyone's saying glass skin, no, I want seaweed skin.
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
And that main ingredient we use, Endaria algae, it's actually wakame. And Japan is like the largest consumer of it because they eat it every day.
Michael's the fourth Japanese.
Are you?
Mm.
No, but you get irritated when I say it on the show because she says that in the audience. I say it too often.
No,
But it's all I say it because
say it, let
my
it
grandmother
rip.
was a full Japanese woman, and I
Wow.
like to pay homage to her once. She brought a lot of that kind of stuff into the house. I remember being a kid, and she had like a different diet than the rest of the house
Mhm.
sometimes, and she was, always doing these different things. But she lived to like 95, 96, and she looked
Perfect.
Incredible.
perfect. Yeah, for
Yeah.
forever.
And it's the minerals in the seaweed. And seaweed is the richest source of vitamins, minerals, amino acids, trace elements. And dry skin or dehydrated skin lacks minerals. So when you begin to remineralize your skin, that's when the magic starts.
You guys need to make a hairspray. Like if there's so many benefits for the hair, we need a spray for the hair, and also I need something to replace his. God knows what it is that he sprays. He looks like
don't
one of
spray
those
anything anymore.
cartoon characters when he sprays his hair and
I
his
don't
face
spray.
is back.
I
You
stopped
don't?
spraying. I stopped spraying.
So I can throw it away today. I just want to
Yeah,
confirm.
I don't use.
I can throw away all the hairspray.
I don't use a hairspray.
You
Go find
promise?
one. Go find one.
Okay,
Great. I'm glad we worked that out.
good. I'm
Oh, stay a little longer. We'll work some other things out.
You talked about your list with men when you were choosing one.
Yeah.
One on my list is no hairspray.
Okay.
But you
What
guys
happened?
should make a hairspray.
Carson, pull out my list
I
that I
agree.
have.
Because like also when you get out of the ocean, your hair just looks incredible.
Right.
Even like because you said there's all those minerals from the seaweed that like helped your grandma's hair. You said she-
Reverse the change. Yeah.
I know this sounds like this is like a full tangent, but I am woo-woo in some kind of ways where like whenever I think about my diet or the way I should live, I always just think about like how our ancestors used to have to live.
Mhm.
And if people don't realize like we come from the sea, right?
Of course. Yeah. We're
And-
composed of seawater, saline.
And if ever I'm in an area where I've had a few too many drinks
Mhm.
and I wake up in the morning and there's a beach there, I move back into the ocean like a creature and I float around in there and I come out reborn.
Mhm.
And you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it's anyone that's ever like, oh man, I don't feel good in the morning. If you go into that ocean water first thing in the morning, you will be fine the rest of the day.
100%. No one's ever gone to the beach and walked in the sand or swam in the water and said, oh, I feel worse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone feels better.
What are some things that you're seeing that are on trend right now that drive you both nuts with the skincare industry?
I think a lot of people have just jumped on the so-called clean bandwagon. And you know what? There is no real definition of clean beauty. It's people just kind of make it up. A lot of brands will just formulate according to retailers' requirements as to what their definition of clean beauty is. I mean, for us, we take this really seriously. We have for the last 29 years. we have, well, we call it the no list, but honestly, it's more like the no list.
What's the
because
no?
It's our internal list.
I know,
And
but like, what's the things that people can look out for in their own products?
so to give you a sense of what it looks like at our company, it's we believe it's the longest one out there. And if anyone's is longer than this, we'd love to talk to them
Okay.
because there's more we could learn. But we have a list of 30,000 plus ingredients that we have eliminated from all of our products.
Wow.
You
And
guys
that
should share that on your website.
honestly, I would love
You
to
know,
make
that's a
it
great
If I
idea.
could go on there and look at that, to me, that's the main selling
that
point.
is genius.
We also
Thank
have
you.
reasons. Like we've hired scientists, we have researchers of why we don't use them. Of course, it includes everything banned in the EU, the Sephora Clean List, the Credo Clean List,
The
the Ulta,
Japanese.
every country. But there are so many other things, and it is a living, breathing document. So that informs to the point on hair products. Everything just takes us a really long time because it's harder to make a product when you're very limited on the ingredients. But that is the core of who we are.
What
So-
are the top 10 things that you're like, no way? Like, get it out of your house.
Well, that actually is probably how I would answer my thing I don't love right now in beauty, which is probably controversial to say. But I think that fragrance is highly on trend, and it's just all this synthetic fragrance. And it's creating this expectation of fragrance that it's long lasting. And we use essential oils and natural fragrance, which just doesn't have the same staying power, but it doesn't have all the endocrine disruptors. So fragrance for me, synthetic fragrance is number one.
Absolutely. And it just permeates everything. There's just, we live in this over sensory load of synthetic fragrance. And, fragrance is key to human survival. And when the nose is smelling all of these synthetics beyond being endocrine disruptors, it's toxic. There's no other way to put it.
Well, I've even found that it can actually affect your unborn baby, and more so if you're having a boy.
Also what?
Well,
like,
yeah, like with penises. I mean, like,
Let's talk about penises.
I mean, the world, we don't need smaller penises in
no.
this world.
That's
Do you
true.
think the smaller penis is coming from the fragrance?
Who knows? I mean, there's been some data to suggest that.
It's funny. Like what you asked, one of the ways that like is changed. Like we've eliminated pretty much every synthetic fragrance in our life.
There's a couple things though, and let me
No,
give you
like-
some examples. When you send your clothes to the dry cleaner,
Yep.
Natural dry cleaner is better.
it's really hard to find here. If anyone knows of a natural dry cleaner in Austin, please DM me. I've had a really hard time. They say green.
Dry cleaning
That
businesses.
doesn't
I
mean
agree.
natural.
Dry cleaning businesses are kind of a good like.
Okay,
business to own.
so
Maybe
also
maybe I'll
I'm
do
going to
one.
call you out. You got the cars washed today. I'd like to wash them with Branch Basics.
Okay, fine.
It
Well,
smells like a Christmas
okay, but
tree
mostly,
hanger.
like I find it personally offensive when people wear perfume and cologne around me.
Talk about your story.
Some people don't like
Talk
it.
about your
What?
story. Yeah, you have a story
What's my story?
about you have someone you know that wears an exorbitant amount of perfume around you.
Oh, no, I'm not gonna tell the story. It's
Yeah,
good. The
I'll
person's
tell
gonna-
it
no,
without
no,
the
no.
person. Okay, so
No.
there's a person that comes into our house to do something in our house that the perfume is like, it smells like one of those shops in the airport that you walk by that has all the tax duty-free perfume.
No,
Yeah.
but it's absolutely absurd. It smells.
Yeah.
It smells like they just went up and down an aisle and sprayed them with everything they could find. But what I don't think people realize, and it's like not a personal attack, but I think a lot of people, you get so desensitized to smell, you're masking so many things, and then you're ignoring your body's signals. So I've said for years, like I don't wear deodorant. I haven't worn deodorant in 10 years.
I don't either.
We don't wear deodorant.
And
Of
what
course
I tell,
not.
they're like, well, what do you do about smells? I'm like, well, you don't smell. And if your body does smell, it's an indication, it's trying to tell you something that you need to fix.
You
right?
can learn so much through the
Yes.
smells. Like
Yeah.
the smell, my smell changes. I know if I've had too much coffee, I have to shift things.
Yeah, if I eat poor or I drink things that I shouldn't be drinking,
gonna
I'm gonna
smell.
smell. But day to day, and I think what happens in life is we start to smell things that we don't like to smell, and so in order to get away from that, you mask with these synthetics. But then the issue just continues to grow and grow and grow without you noticing it.
Even Michael and I were looking at houses the other day, and like you can smell the cleaning supplies that they use in the houses.
It
That's
gives me
what
a
I-
headache immediately.
That's what I love about an N95 mask. is that I wear them into, like, I love to look at new homes for design ideas. And most of the time I have an N95 in my purse. If I start to smell odors, I put it on.
The only problem with that is that it touches your skin and it's pressing into your skin. I go, you want to go down a rabbit hole? Call me.
Okay,
I'll
I
go down a
will.
rabbit.
Right.
I don't know. Can we just ban
Well, but
cleaning supplies?
I think so too. Or just ban scented cleaning supplies as a start. Because even if you make one switch in your daily life, in a regular grocery store, you could just go buy Tide without fragrance and you're in such better shape.
Well, here's also something interesting that if you start removing toxins and then you go into like a drugstore, you feel so overstimulated.
Mhm.
Like even we went to Buc-ee's. And it's like, I love fucking Buc-ee's, but it's so much stimulation with theirs. The candles that are like the cupcake scented pumpkin spice Yankee
candles.
Yeah,
Don't
and then
get me
it's like
started
the
there.
candy aisle, and you're just like the light. It's like so much stimulation.
It is strange though when your body fully detoxes from that when you're not around a lot. Like the other day I got in an Uber and they had whatever kind of plug-in they had.
Oof.
And it was so bad. And I'm like not trying to be a baby about this, but I got home and I felt like it was stuck inside my face.
You talked about it for
Absolutely.
And
Windows down
I
in
was
any
like
weather
blowing
with
my
that.
nose over and over to get it out and it wouldn't go out. And I was just thinking like, what kind of product exists that has that much stickiness to
I made him
stay
sleep outside.
in my, do you know what I mean? Like it cannot be good for the human body to be
No.
having that stuck like that.
And here's to me, everyone is missing the true point of scent, because the beauty of scent when I formulate, because I was a healer before I started this. I did cranial work. I did shiatsu. I did acupressure, but my real passion was more cranial osteopathic healing touch. But the beauty of fragrance, true, like a pure natural scent or essential oils, is that you can track it in the body. And when I formulate, I do it to lift consciousness, because scent can actually elevate consciousness when it's formulated and done correctly. Scent triggers the hindbrain, the most primitive part of the brain. So it can bring back memories. So scent can be a beautiful thing, and it's been fully adulterated, and I loathe synthetic fragrance.
I like your products because when I put them on, it's the smell is fresh. I can't explain it.
Mhm.
It's not.
This doesn't bother me at all.
No, it's
Yeah.
not aggressive. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's an aggressive scent when you're wearing something synthetic.
Yes, it's because this is lifting of your energy. And the other part of our products is that when I formulate, I had this crazy idea, because so much of cranial touch is working with intention and observation. So I thought to myself, what if I formulated with intention to lift consciousness? Would people notice? It was kind of just my own little game I played with myself.
I notice.
I know people
do.
notice.
I do notice that.
They behold the bottle and
Yeah.
they notice.
Well, also like the weight of the bottle, the way it feels, it's very grounding.
I've taken so much of that same philosophy of raising consciousness, elevating consciousness into the way that we run the business. And so much of it is through the products, through scent and elevation of your mood. But where I approach it with the consumer is through kindness in every interaction we have with the consumer. And what I'm so proud of taking this wisdom from my mom, that I've been able to build this business to do over $100 million a year in revenue while staying completely focused on our mission of building kindness and raising consciousness from every place that we interact.
I bet the customers that you attract have the same vibration and frequency.
Totally. And one of the things my mom also does is meditates on the brand. And she gets me, we meditate on the products and visualize.
You and I are like, I feel like
we have to hang out. I've already decided that.
I mean,
Just get that hairspray out of the house and I'll come
and
over.
the car wash and the dry cleaner. I'm working on that.
What
car
if
wash,
we
yes.
actually need to practice a little bit less kindness and just tell people they smell terrible and we need to get rid of whatever they're
Well,
wearing?
that's probably the
That's
way that we
kind
could be
also.
kind. Yeah,
I could say,
being very
listen,
clear.
this is going to hurt at first
I know,
when I
but,
tell you that you smell
That's- I have a
offensive,
hard-
Poisoning yourself.
I have a hard
but
time.
at the end of it, your penis will grow.
Yes. Or you're the next generations of your family.
If you want a bigger penis, stop with the fragrance that's synthetic.
You know, thanks for saying it.
Yeah.
Someone needed to.
Pull that clip, put it everywhere.
That's gonna be the clip. It's gonna be you two, and it's gonna be me leading. I'm just kidding.
Carson, have you decided to throw away your cologne yet? Carson doesn't wear cologne though. I don't find anything. When you're pregnant, look the fuck out. I can smell it from a mile away.
Oh,
Your
absolutely.
scent.
Anything that smells, I'm like a bloodhound dog. I'm like, what is that? I'm one of those people that maybe is a little passive aggressive. I'll open
not
the
a little-
door and like go like this.
Oh, I get into that scented Uber, open every single window and stick my head outside.
now you want
so
to
I'm
hear
with you.
my favorite hack on international flights when they start rolling out the cart and trying to sell the duty-free perfume. I stand up and I announce I have asthma, and then
my
I start coughing.
Oh my God, I'm so inspired. I'm pinning that to my Pinterest
And I'm
board.
like, I don't want to have an attack. And everyone just freezes. And that's it. No, nobody sprays perfume.
I love that hack. Whatever works.
Yeah.
I think that if you
I
aren't,
don't have asthma, by the way.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I love a fake asthma attack.
Yeah.
But you know, like
I'll turn my Jasper air purifier up all the way if it's in my house.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy though? Is like I was just as you were like, remember they used to do it in the magazines where you'd open a magazine. And they had
Yeah,
the scent-
they still do.
I opened one the other day and they had that, and it
Yeah.
like almost took me out.
I remember
Yeah.
being younger and getting in trouble for having one of those in the house, or like not really in trouble, but like a scented candle. Those
Oh,
like
I just
flap
threw it out.
had to be removed immediately.
I would like to know just maybe like just Michael and I as entrepreneurs, what your grand plan is. Do you guys plan on selling? And if you do plan on selling, how do you hope to maintain the integrity of the business?
Or is this a family business forever?
Well, I love that you asked those questions together, because the first answer is what's most important is maintaining the integrity of the business and the product. And we are at the top of clean beauty and the pioneers of clean beauty, and it's having such a moment. And in 30 years ago, when clean beauty wasn't a thing, that's where we were. And in 30 years, I hope clean beauty is still trendy, but if it's not, that's just where we're staying. So that is fundamentally the most important part of our future. We get lots of inquiries. We talk to everyone. And if there was a partner that believed in that with us and could help us take our vision to the next level, might be interesting. But right now, our primary focus is continuing to build the brand and to build awareness of clean beauty and these products. And our products are sold right now almost entirely in America. So we have a whole world ahead of us. We just launched in Australia and New Zealand with incredible results. We're having fun.
Yeah.
I think we talked off air about how everything's happening for you. And for me, and I think you guys are the same, if the sale makes so much sense and it's the right frequency and it's something where you guys can come in and still have your hand on the business and the pulse on the product and the ingredients, then it'll be right.
Exactly.
And if it's not, it's not. I think like sometimes the vision is just to go where it's supposed to go, and maybe you sell and maybe you don't.
And that's just what I said in the beginning, that we are following the vision.
Yeah.
OSEA chose us, and we are following the vision. And actually, OSEA means ocean, sun, earth, atmosphere. It's the elements of life.
I love that. I very much align to a lot of what you're saying, and it's refreshing for me to have founders on the show where I can relate to them, because so often I hear sell, scale, aggressive, fast, go, 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 go. It's like that's not what I want to build. And so I've had trouble relating to a lot of entrepreneurs when they're like, you need to know what you want to do in 10 years. It's like, I tell Michael, I have to wrap my head around things before I just move quick.
Well, like for me, the real unlock in anything in life that you're doing as a business venture is when you realize that like the process and the journey is actually so much more fulfilling than the end, right?
And
like,
the destination.
yeah, it's like I talk to so many people and it's like, they're like, I want to sell this, or I want to get this big product, whatever it may be. And it's like, and then what?
Mhm.
right? Like you work your whole life to build this skill set and follow this passion and this mission. And then it's like, if the end is just so that you just have this big financial outcome, it's like, and then what? I think people don't ask them. Like what I tell Lauren, one of the things I do in life, in every area of life, anytime I'm making a decision or thinking about something, I say, and then what? And if I don't have a good answer to that, I typically say it's a pass. And it could be anything. Like if I give my kids pancakes with a bunch of syrup in the morning and that they're going to go nuts. So I walk through, that's a bad example, but I just think it's an interesting exercise because people typically like they focus on this one end goal and they don't ask themselves, and then what? And this can be with dating, it can be with your business, it could be who you have to get married to, your kids, anything. But people just, they just think that the destination is this glorious place. But you forget, like anytime I look back, it's been the doing and the process that I have the most joy in.
It's the journey, not the destination. And the journey is the present. And that's all that actually exists, is this moment. And the more that we can be present in the present, the richer and deeper life is. And then it makes the journey even more exciting and dynamic.
And getting to grow a business with my mom that's so unwaveringly committed to our beliefs. Our team we have an incredible team of nearly 100 women who run the business. And we have gotten to just like, it's such a journey of discovery. I feel like not only have I literally grown up with this business, but it's been such a path of evolution, a spiritual growth, everything, of being someone different today for this business and for this mission than I was 1 year ago, because it's just a new world, because it's so much bigger. And I think just as a family to get to carry on the wisdom of all of the generations of women in my family, it feels like such a gift.
Well,
And
we need a seaweed mist for the hair.
I agree.
Sorry, but
I'm on it.
I'm going to be honest, I've been saying this, so I'm really happy you brought
We
it up.
need it. I'm putting it out there in the ether. Let's do
You told me you were going to reverse my graying hair.
No, I did not say
Well, then
that.
we'll come on here.
You can also
say it
use
for
it
us.
everywhere.
Okay.
If you get my drift.
I will.
You can use it on all your grays.
I'm not there yet.
Let's do a
eventually.
big deep breath with our Vegas nerve oil.
Okay.
Before we go.
Thank you guys for coming on. We ran
it's been
Michael, get
so
your
much
oil.
fun.
right before we were going to get into tariffs. We ran out of time.
Let's go.
That's on the
Get
next
that Vegas
episode.
nerve.
OSEAMalibu.com. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for having us. This was so fun.
Do you
Thank
guys
you,
want to
guys.
do a giveaway for a bunch of your like
Yes.
maybe my favorite products to the
100%.
audience? Okay, so all you guys have to do is follow at OSEA Malibu on Instagram and tell us your favorite part of this episode on my latest post at Lauren Bostic. Thank you guys for coming on the show.